Welcome back. So in the last section we have developed the code for the login. So now what you have to do, if you remember and if you pay attention, so we can understand that login page should not be authenticated, because these are the pages which are open to all. If someone is not able to log in or register, then how can the guy will come in your system, right? So what I have to do, I have to go in the Spring Security config. I have to add one more request matcher, and what I have to give this, just copy this path and just paste here and give me login this name, right? So now I think it should work, so let's try that. Server is about to start. So server is started now on 8082. So I'll open my Postman and 8082/login, and in the body I have to give this username and password. So if you remember in the database I was having, just ignore this one, it's not going to work. I'm talking about this user now. So ravi@mail.com and password was 123456. Okay, so same, let me try it now. So we got the message, user logged in successfully. Oh, so we are done now. So our flow is completed. Now login is also working. So let me see if any log is there. No. So it just started and it's completed. So it means now we are able to log in the system now, right? And the flow is same. What I am doing, I am just taking the request of a user ID and password, and I'm sending that username and password through config to a authentication manager. Then authentication manager is helping me in finding out how to fetch that data from the DB. So once I find the username from the email and I find out that okay, this user exists, then I'm simply, what I'm doing, I'm setting the username password. I'm just, this config, it's a one-time run. So whenever it will be application is running, so all these objects get activated and saved in the context somewhere. So it will be part of now a Spring container. So we have to just leverage the methods inside that, right? So now if username is found, so we are returning that okay, this username, you have got it. So once I got the username, so let me go in the service class first. So once I got the token and authenticated this, so if response is having, I'm creating the response. So if this authenticate method is throwing some error, it will catch. So since it's not throwing any error, so that's why we're not able to see. Let me put some wrong password in that. Okay, so what I'll do here, I'll simply make the change in the password. Let's see, I'm getting 401 unauthorized. It means I have not handled the exception, right? It is throwing some exception. So let's implement the exception to handle this method. So what I'll do, I'll go in the auth controller or security config is there. So if username is not found, then what I'm going to do, right? I'm throwing username not found, so I have to catch this. But this username is found. Actually we have to check the password now. So this is what is missing here. So let's do that now. So let me create one exception over there. So I having this exception and it is throwing. So what I'll do, I'll simply, I'm just explaining this exception. If you see, I create one custom exception which will extend the exception, and it is just having one default constructor or no argument constructor and one parameterized constructor where you are passing one message, and that same message will be displayed, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll just add this in the throw exception. So I'll write throws master user exception. So this will show problem because this is not handled in the controller, right? So what I'll do, I'll write here to throw exceptions, right? So we can add exception in the method signature you can use. So okay, so we have got this message. Now when this exception will be thrown in any case, so we have to look, I mean normally it's a very standard practice that we should always define the controller advice in the system. Nowadays it's a de facto standard. So what to do, what type of exception that your application can have, just define all this exception in one class, and based on the type of exception the particular method will handle that. Okay, so we call it controller advice. So let me create that. I'll simply create one in the exception class itself. I create one more handler that I'll give it a global handler. So we can create one class, and this class, it will have an introduction controller advice, right? And now in this I will write one method. So this exception, I mean it's a system security based exception. So one thing we have to notice, we have to define one class which is having all the readable message, like what is exception. So what I'll do here, I will create one class that will simply I'll give this name, something related to error details, right? What exception is this? Our exception detail, you can say exception details, and this will be having simply private string message, right? Private string, some detail I'll give it, and I should also have the timestamp, local date time, I think it will be better, timestamp. Let me take this, and this will be data. Okay, so I have given all this annotation: data, no argument constructor, and all argument constructor, and two string method, just to print the details. So now what I'll do here, I'll go in the exception handler. So I'll simply import these classes. So the exception detail, if I open the class, I am having message, detail, and timestamp. Okay, so let me add message. That will be simply add I dot get message, comma. I'll also add a request dot get description and false, because I don't want the client information in that. And last could be local date time. So local date time dot now, and that should work. Yeah. This is one extra, I think. Is it? I'll be here. Yes, it is one extra. So now this is ready. Now what I have to do, I have to tell when this exception method will be called. So I have to give the type of exception now. Okay, so I will add this annotation over there. So now let me explain the flow again. If any error is coming from here, so what will do, it will throw this exception. So this exception will come back to the controller. In controller, we are, when that kind of a type of exception will come, is going to handle at this method. So let me run this, then it will be sure that where you have done right or wrong. Okay, then we'll change if any problem is occurring. So let me restart the server now. So I have put the wrong credentials now. Let me hit that. Oh, I'm getting 401. So login is already bypassed. So unauthorized access I am getting. Okay. I didn't find any error in that. Okay. Okay, so what I'll do, I'm giving you one task just to find out, even I'm bypassing this from the security config still, and I'm putting the username and password. I'm defined the global exception handler, still I'm getting 401. So just see that. I'll explain in the next session.